all this stuff.
Are you kidding me?
Did you not get the memo?
Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Can't wait.
Oh, yeah.
We're tweaking a few things as we go along here to make this the best presentation of a sports show that you will ever watch or listen to. So I think I believe I'm gonna stroll back to an old formula that worked, and I'll explain that as we go along. So you're gonna hear a few hiccups, but you know something? We're live and smoking on this Wednesday morning, and the time that we have right now, which is 36 after the 8 a.m. hour, it's the 8 a.m. hour that will kick things off for us. And speaking of which,
in a world where partial greatness is celebrated and total greatness is shunned, there stands to be a figure on the lips of those who love him, who hate him. Since to Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant since 2003. When in sight, battle be traditionally love and unconditionally hate him is on. Actual confessions.
now, folks, this is the only disclaimer I'm going to provide before my partner goes completely off. We base this on facts. That's all you need to know. Take it away, my friend. I told you there'd be a couple hiccups. Just a moment. Just a moment. See, when you try when you try something new, there's going to be some hiccups. There's just going to be some hiccups, and I knew at this new hour, I didn't get a chance to test everything, and it's my own fault. It is my own fault. Let's get Cole Johnson back on the line, and let's get back to work here. We're sorry about that, folks. Let's try this again.
World where partial greatness is celebrated and total greatness. There stands to be a figure on the limb and those who hate him. The innocence to Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant and has existed since 2003. There is no end in sight for the battle between those who additionally love and unconditionally hate him. These are their stories. With the bronze sexual conscience.
That's going to get an edit. Now, as I said, we base this on facts. And we didn't mention his name, but y'all know who we're talking about. Take it away, partner.
It is Wednesday. And you know, it's time for you little kitties that think that you're men to huddle around and sit down. I would say take a knee, but you're accustomed to that position already. Because it's time for you to be educated yet again.
Yes, please.
On why you all are so pathetic. All right. I get that every single record he comes to, or every single milestone he crosses, it's a wonderful thing. I get it. I get it. He's a wonderful athlete. I will never say anything against that.
Nor will
If I were to say, if I were to say he sucks as an athlete, that would be bold-faced lie.
Mm-hmm. And all credibility would go out the window.
Right. He's a phenomenal athlete. But the thing is, we've been saying this to you time and again, we're going to keep saying it to you because you all are hard-headed. I would say that the saying that a hard head makes for a soft behind, but in your case, it's a hard head mixed with bloody knees. But I digress. You all have to stop with the attacks toward those who want to prove that, well, maybe LeBron is a little flawed when it comes to the skill portion of basketball.
Oh, no.
Take for instance, a friend of mine, and you would enjoy him when you meet him. He posted in that game that we had talked about in the last segment.
Yeah.
He posted a little bit of some video of LeBron trying to do his and one. He's trying to get his and one on to a defender who was 3.5, 4 inches smaller. So LeBron at first wanted to back him down, but he saw that it was a 2-3 zone, so he backed out and decided, okay, I'll take him on one-on-one. So he was getting slick with the dribble.
Of course.
Then he tried to blow by him, as I said earlier. Bull in the china shop. That's what he has done better than anybody, but it's starting to not be as potent now. And that was proof. So the defender swiped the ball away. LeBron gets it back. He tries to reset, and then he gets slick with the dribble again. He tries the same move to his right. The defender knows, so the defender's going to his left to deny the right hand. And he went harder to his left to stop LeBron going right, and LeBron falls flat on his behind. Meanwhile, 22 of the 24 seconds has elapsed off the shot clock.
That possession's over.
The man held the ball for 22 seconds of that possession. He dished it out. The three-pointer was made, but the three-pointer was done after the shot clock expired.
Whoops.
You see, that's documented proof. You know, just like the block in 2016, seventh game in the NBA Finals, just like the game-winning shot he hit game 2 of the 2009 Eastern Conference Finals.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just like the 45, 15, and 6 game, if I'm not mistaken, it was game 6 of 2012's Eastern Conference Finals.
Yes.
You see, Bronsexuals, I know all of that. I'm not a hater. I can recite those things off the bat, off the top of my dome. I didn't even go on Google, which is what you all need to do. I didn't even go on Google. Pulled them out from the top of my head. Just as those things are true, so is true with him trying to think as though he is a fleet of foot point guard like a Chris Paul, like his banana boat brethren. But he ain't.
No.
Just like when he tries to back somebody down, but someone is quicker of hand and swipes the ball away. He's in that wonderful position of hands in the air, looking toward the refs with the cry face on. Meanwhile, it's a 4 and 5 fast break going the other way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, guess who's the 5th player back?
Right. And it's just as true with him falling flat on his butt, throwing the ball with only 2 seconds left on the shot clock in a possession. Just as he is good in certain things, he's bad at others. Just because he has just when he has good moments, he has bad moments too.
Mm-hmm.
It does not mean that he is flawless, and it does not mean that he is all the way great with these skills. I've said this to you, Bronsexuals, with jump shots. He'll have games where he'll go off in 3-point line, and he'll have other games where the well is dry. And thank you, Tim Brandt. The iron is unkind.
The iron is unkind. Yes.
So my friend posts that particular video on a sports group room. The hate you bronzesexuals showed him.
Oh my gosh.
Was ridiculous. It went from, quote, "Do you even know basketball?" close quote.
Oh boy.
To, quote, "There's so much hate coming out of a black man for another black man." Close quote.
Oh no, not that one again.
Mm-hmm. To, quote, "That's just one slip up in a myriad of others where he has done other things, such as the school."
Oh God.
Close quote.
Stop it.
Now, do you see the problem here, bronsexuals? Do not try to defend your man. Excuse me for the following verbiage here. I'm talking to the bronsexuals.
Okay.
This is not how I think. This is not how we think.
Okay.
You see, this is your man. You know, the one that you would let only him clap your cheeks. The man that makes you moist.
Very much so.
With anticipation every time he's on TV or on YouTube or on any other apparatus where you can view him.
Mm-hmm.
And you go harder for him than you do your boyfriend. I mean, girlfriend. When a man puts up something to criticize, only to criticize, not to slander, not to hate on, not to poo-poo, to only criticize, it does not mean that you get to, oh, I forgot one of the other quotes. It did not mean that it does not mean that it gives you license to opine, quote, "And that's why your fat A is on the sidelines while this man is on the court," close quote.
I've gotten that one more than once. I've gotten that one.
What you all do not understand, bronsexuals, is that it makes you just as ridiculous as how my partner took the last sentence I just said, the last quote I just uttered. We do this. And the thing is, what's so funny? How he just laughed on air about that stupidity that I just spewed, that you all spew.
Mm-hmm.
That is how we, who are without the scales on our eyes, without the rose-colored glasses on our faces,
Yep.
without the lock on the brain, that is how we are.
In a world where partial greatness.
Off air or offline. Because we see the stupidity that comes out of your mouth, from your head, from your ears, from your head. We see it.
From a mile away. From a mile away.
We see it, and it's almost as.
And what
it's
makes
almost
it so bad? And what makes it so bad? They keep coming with it. The same tired arguments. The same tired, used up, spit out insults.
The exact same.
In the exact same words. Okay? Like the one you said, quote, "That's why your fat ass is on the sidelines and he is on the court," close quote. Riddle me this, bronsexual who decided to opine that. Are you on the court? I'm sorry.
See, I think that so often. But that proves my point. You see, we have what's something that you don't have? Oh yes, nuts.
Oh, I
To
got another word. Knowledge.
yes, to actually say this with confidence, like my partner said before I began this verbal butt whooping I'm giving you right now. We spit facts at you. That's all we do. Not talking about how good of a or bad a father he is. Not talking about how good or bad of
Nope.
a husband he is.
Mm-mm.
Not talking about how good or bad of a friend he is. Not even talking about how good or bad of a businessman he is. All of that is great. And I applaud him for even having a hand in the school. I applaud him for having a hand in trying to do something big in Hollywood. I applaud him for all the philanthropic things that he does off the court. Wonderful, all those things. But what you do, bronsexuals, after you just simply take the back of your hand and you just wipe the happy juice off your mouth. Is you combine all of that with he's about to be the most prolific scorer of all time. He has passed Michael Jordan with 1,000 less shots. He passed Kobe Bryant with 2,000 less shots. He is greater than these guys because he has come to this number in a fewer shot attempts than this great. Now, I will on video dissect, disseminate, and blow up and destroy that particular argument.
Yes.
But combining that ridiculousness and then you bypass that, you will in one vacuum uplift that, but in another vacuum totally ignore, totally excuse, and totally forget, like you have amnesia, that it took LeBron 16 years what Jordan did in 13. It took him 17, maybe up to 17, close to 17 years to do what Kobe did in probably 17 himself. Because most of the last 2 years he was injured. So you laud this guy and you forget that. And of course, the one thing I totally can rub in your face all the time. Oh, well, I'm sorry. Rubbing in your face. Yeah, I know you want to have a figure rubbing your face. Not that. I'm sorry. No bronsexuals. Not that. But I and my partner can continuously rub in your face. He has 4 championships in 10 tries. And I'll even give you one of those as a mulligan. So 4 in 9. 4 in 9 tries. And you all are so quick to simply drop to your knees, grab a hold to the pipe, and then bend down.
Oh, yeah.
And genuflect to your man before you say, oh, God, to him. Whenever you say anything remotely close to whatever his next achievement will be. So now he's going to be on the doorstep of passing Karl Malone. So that's going to be the next Hall of Famer you all are going to trash en masse. Because you did it with Jordan, of course you continuously do it with him, but when on the most prolific all-time scoring list, you did that with Jordan. He had his time to be trashed by you guys. You did it with Kobe. And some of you sickos actually did it posthumously. And now it's
Some of you
Carmelo's turn.
sickos still do it posthumously. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. And you're about to do it to Malone. And when when your man passes him, then you're going to say, well, he was nothing. Here's something that you should put in your memory banks, bronzexuals. Your man's dimensions, you know it. You know it because you cook breakfast for him in the morning. You know it. What are they? That's right. 6'9", 260, right? Malone, same size. Same size. Your man's a bull in the china shop with very limited skill on the basketball court. Malone is one of the best postmen to ever exist in the game, and he was all man.
Scoring, passing, defense, all defense team. Oh yeah. If I'm allowed, sir.
Please.
Karl Malone developed a mid-range jump shot.
You see, I could tell he watched a lot of Jack Sigma films. Oh, I'm sorry, you don't. I'm sorry, doggone it.
He watched a ton of Jack Sigma films. A ton.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, all right. Let me break it down to you in terms that you understand and in people that you understand, because Google is not your friend. So you would say Jack who? Well, forget that.
Okay.
Think Dirk Nowitzki, but without the one-footed fadeaway.
Because Sigma had his legs in front of each other on his long-range jump shots, and
Right.
Sigma added that three-point shot to extend his career.
Yeah, study him. Wonderful jump shooter. As a post guy, and he was all man in the post too. You are going to start trashing Malone in the same way that you've done Jordan, the same way you've done Kobe. And now it's going to extend itself not just on the all-time scorers list, but in the all-time rebounds and assists list. But you haven't really gone into the rebounds part yet. I'll get that in a moment. But, the assist aspect of things. Now when people mention these wonderful point guards that have actually graced our presence, John Stockton, Jason Kidd.
Yep.
Heck, you trash Chris Paul, and that's his boy.
KJ.
Oscar Robertson. Well, you don't even know him. He's like your grandfather's age. I'm sorry. Of course, Isaiah Thomas. Zeke.
Thomas.
And then the 2-point guards that you want to aim, fire, and crap on every single chance you get. The greatest point guard of all time in Magic Johnson. And the most revolutionary player in today's game. Stephen Curry. You all want to go ham and saying that they don't have the skills that LeBron does. You know what? You're actually right. They don't have the skills that LeBron has because LeBron has limited skills. Those two can literally dribble around him and skip. Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot you saw Curry dribble around LeBron. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Several times in one game.
Worse.
Several times
in one possession.
In one possession, exactly. Anybody remember 2017?
Oh, Lord. See, I know.
Let me add this. Let me add this.
Go ahead, sir.
Revolutionary players, no matter what position they play on a football field, a baseball diamond, a basketball court, a hockey rink, have something that leaves an impact. My sentence about Wardell Stephen Curry II is pretty simple. He took an anomaly and turned it into a weapon.
And you bronzesexuals gleam onto that. And what did you do? You forgot that your man changed his whole game up because he wanted to be like Mike in the early stages of his career.
Yep.
Then he wanted to be like Kobe. You know, in the Heatles days, and a little bit early on in his second stint with the Cavaliers. By the time he was starting to get his butt whooped by the Warriors, he changed his game to wanting to be just like Curry's. He wanted to hit those 30, 35 footers. He wanted to prove that he had a range.
Oh, wait
Did
a
he
minute.
want to do that early in his career?
Wait
No,
a
sir.
minute. Wait a minute.
Mhm.
Magic Johnson took an anomaly and turned it into a weapon. Size.
Of course.
Size.
Yeah, of course. I mean, this guy, you want to see a guy LeBron size actually run the point the way you're supposed to run the point? You look no further than Magic Johnson. I've been saying this to you dummies for the last 19 years.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron's game is not closest to Michael Jordan. It has never been. It isn't now. It never will be. He is closest resembled Magic Johnson's. I'm not saying that he's just as good. I'm not saying he's even remotely close to the ballpark. I'm saying that his game reflects the way Magic played.
Mm-hmm.
The only difference is LeBron takes more shots and he takes stupider risks with the basketball.
Yeah.
But that's not an insult to LeBron. We're talking about the greatest point guard that's ever laced
Played the game.
the sneakers.
The duels with him and John Stockton. The duels
Legendary.
with him and KJ.
Legendary.
All right. I had... Okay.
Mhm.
Last part, before we go to break. I had a conversation with a bronzesexual.
Oh, Lord.
I mentioned the name Kevin Johnson.
Yes, you did.
That conversation ended.
Because they don't know who he is.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's how it
Would
is.
you educate these people on Kevin Johnson? You know what? I'll give you 2 point guards that were on the same team. One wound up traded and flourished in Phoenix. Would you educate the people? No. Change my question. Would you please educate these bronzesexuals, these mental-minded midgets on the skills of KJ and the skills of one Mark Price?
Well, KJ is simple. This dude was so fast with the basketball. Allen Iverson, and I know you all idolize him because your man idolizes him. He said that he was never more embarrassed on the court in his life than when he had to defend Kevin Johnson. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he said Kevin Johnson put 45 on him.
Mm-hmm.
This guy, too fast to stop one-on-one. He had phenomenal court vision. And if you didn't think he was athletic, he put forth one of the... in my opinion, I am the biggest Hakeem Olajuwon fan. He put forth the best dunk on Olajuwon that he ever tried to stop in his entire career.
Mm-hmm.
The man had ups. And he was only 6'1".
He's only 6'1".
Oh, and if you just thought he just passed, he had a shot too. And then there's Mark Price, the guy who, what can I say? He never met a shot he didn't like, but he had the skills to take it and make them.
Mm-hmm.
He ran a sharp team because he was one of the most underrated point guards of all time. Oh, yeah, and he definitely did something that you bronzesexuals never will see with Mr. LeBron James, and that is on his worst year, he shot 90% from the free throw line in the season. On his worst year.
Yeah.
Because your man on his best year shot only 78.
Mark Price, playing limited with Orlando, still shot 90% from the free throw line.
That's what's so ridiculous. I mean, the dude,
He
you didn't
played
follow. That was
limited
automatic 2
with
points.
Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
Limited.
Yeah.
And he still put 90% through the hoop.
Don't foul him. Don't foul him.
Don't foul him.
Don't foul him. That's automatic 2 points. You might as well not even take the two free throws because you might as well just walk on the other side of the court.
May as well just walk him down and put him in the book.
You see, bronsexuals, you clown these point guards because your man is about to become one who's about to have 10,000 assists in a career. You laud him and trash others, and then there's the rebounding part. Well, you all don't talk too much trash about the rebounders that you see on that list because of two things. One, you know he's not going to approach many of the greats. He's not going to approach the Rodmans. He definitely is not going to approach the Will Chamberlains. He's not going to approach the Elvin Hayeses, the Moses Malones, even the Karl Malones. Not even going to come close. Not even going to come close. Why? Because your man's a metrosexual like you all are. You see, all those guys I just mentioned, those were men, all men. And you can clown Robin and dress him in a dress. He did that for publicity.
But when it was time to play, he played.
That effort that Rodman put forth on the court, sometimes without even scoring a bucket, sometimes without even attempting a shot, I will take that effort over a lot of sometimes what I see with LeBron any day of the week.
Same.
Because many times he does mail it in. Rodman never did. So in closing, I will say this to you. And I know your butt's a little sore. I know your knees are itching. So oh, it's 9:00. Oh, that's right. I forgot. You about to cook breakfast for your man. Well, anyway. Have respect for the legends that either your man is passing statistically or is rubbing shoulders with statistically, because it took them for him to exist. It took all the names we just mentioned for there to be a LeBron Raymond James.
Period.
It took all of them for him to exist. But you all don't know it because you all don't care about that. You only care about October 2003 and onward. Why? You idiots. I sometimes don't understand with you, but I have to understand. I just understand you all. You see, you bronsexuals have to stop making this guy deity, because he does not change lives. In a world where logic and sense flies completely out the window, while purple and yellow glasses are donned, rises a figure who encourages ridiculous and dying loyalty. Good Lord, I'm about to throw up. This has been yet another installment of The Bronsexual Confessions. More later today on Cole Sports.
I can't wait. I cannot wait for that piece of hot garbage that we both looked at to get chopped down to size.
Oh my
Lord, I can't wait for that.
Oh man, I'm gonna enjoy this video. Oh, I'm gonna enjoy it.
I told you, I can't wait. That's why I put in an all-nighter. I got everything done that I needed to do, and this is going to be a simple posting project for me. And then I'm going to take a nap, and then I'm going to hit Cole Sports on the daily. God, I can't wait. after this. Everyone knows what kindergarten is, but have you heard of kindergarten and transitional kindergarten? Virtual learning where you use a morning meeting to do so? Well, if you look up Miss Delicia on YouTube with Morning Meeting with Miss Delicia, that is where you find it. Here children can learn about their names, what their names start with, the letters, circles, everything that we learned in kindergarten growing up. The kids can do now and can do it with Miss Delicia. Just go to youtube.com and search Miss Delicia, and when you do, and you put your child involved in this, do me a favor. Tell them Snowman sent you.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, grown-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And, with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have anybody to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
Olivia from Washington. Laid off and trying to keep our little kids from realizing that mommy and daddy haven't eaten in a while.
Roger from California. I'm grateful we could afford our son's surgery. I'm nervous that now we can't really afford food.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Donna from Louisiana. The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Keisha from South Carolina. I've been skipping meals so my 2 kids can eat, but filling up on water doesn't really work.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Excuse me, I know you have a 9 o'clock, so I'll keep this short. I'm the business suit in the back of your closet. You wore me nearly every day before your office went, quote, casual. I used to be the CEO of your closet. Now I'm just that one intern no one ever talks to. I always thought you'd circle back with me, get granular, keep me in the pipeline. But nada, nothing. Don't you remember the McKittrick presentation? You spilled coffee on me and I still looked amazing during the breakout talkback Q&A. So, I think it's time for me to move on. I've got a great resume and I absolutely crush it in interviews, okay? Let's make this a clean break. Shift the paradigm. The only thing I ask is that you think outside the box here and do this. Take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create new jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff. Create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff.
Are you kidding me? Did you not get the memo?
Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Can't wait. Ooh, yeah.
The Twitter thing, the Instagram thing is all one ID. Official SIT Morn. That's official SIT Morn. And give my man Cole Sport to subscribe on YouTube. He has some great content. And of course, today it's the video version of Bronze Sexual Confessions. What we're going to do from now, I believe for the next month, while I work to get some new materials, we're going to go back to doing audio. You'll see the video pieces later on in the day. And that's another reason why I wanted to go back to early mornings to allow myself a little bit of time to get everything posted. Now, I have a question, and it goes like this. Are the Dallas Cowboys going to fire Mike McCarthy like they should?
Let me see. Jarrell is the
okay.
Jarrell is the GM or co-GM. I see Jarrell is the head cheerleader for the Cowboys. Jarrell is the head fan, and Jarrell is the de facto head coach. No.
Yeah, that's kind of the answer I was looking for.
No. They need to. They should.
They should have never hired McCarthy.
Right. Yeah, before I continue, I don't advocate someone being fired. However, you just said it right there, partner. They should not have even considered Mike McCarthy to be the guy to run the team. And the reason why Jarrell picked him was because McCarthy was hungry to be on the sidelines again, and he knew that he basically had to run with whatever Jarrell gave him. And it would allow Jarrell to still basically run the team the way he's been running it. He needs to have a coach like he did have when Bill Parcells was at the end of his head coaching career, where I'm not necessarily saying that they need to butt heads, but it needs to be where Jarrell does what he does best because he's a businessman. He knows football, but he's a businessman. That's what he does best.
He's not a football guy. He's a businessman, but he's not a football guy.
Yeah, he's not a football guy.
The same problem I see with the Chicago Bears. They don't have football people running the football operations. And Mike McCarthy, even though Dak Prescott nearly gave him a miracle on Sunday, Dak Prescott made the most foolish move.
And if that was even co-signed by them, it makes it even more foolish.
And it's more of an indictment against McCarthy.
Stole the thought out of my head. That's exactly what I wanted to say, because it's like that is more of a reason as to why McCarthy shouldn't be on the sideline of the Cowboys. What did I say to you before that game took place?
McCarthy's going to find a way to mess it up.
And did he find a way to mess that game up?
He sure did.
Yeah. I will never trust
his
the Cowboys.
his team followed right down the drain with him.
Yes. I will. You're right. I will never trust a Mike McCarthy coached team ever, because they are the most undisciplined bunch that you'll ever run across. We saw that at the tail end of his time with the Packers. And we've been seeing it ever since he's been the Cowboys head coach this year. And, lost in the 12-5 record, lost in the fact that they just simply steamrolled over the NFC least.
Yes, the NFC least.
They actually acted like the Raiders of the late 70s to early 80s. They were the most penalized team in the NFL.
And Sunday was no exception. 14 penalties. 14.
And when you have that many penalties, 8 of them either gave 49ers first downs or prevented the Cowboys from getting their own first downs. When you have that many penalties, you know what that is a sign of?
Undisciplined play.
That is the biggest sign of undisciplined play. And when there's undisciplined play, where do you look to first?
You look to the coach. You absolutely look to the coach. But you know what Cowboy fans are doing?
They're looking to the refs.
They're looking to the refs. They're absolutely looking to the refs. And which tells me Cowboy fans didn't know the rules either. That an official has to touch the ball before you can try to spike it. I posed a question on Monday. Why did Dak Prescott hand the ball to his center? The umpire wasn't far behind and trailing you guys. He has to spot the ball to make it official so you can spike the ball and get one more play. You hand the ball to your center.
I will give you all a nugget when I do the next installment of the broadcast, Cole Sports. I will definitely talk about that, because there was an interesting conversation that was being had. Where they basically talked about where this was, and I don't think this was a Cowboys fan per se, but it was basically like a Cowboys apologist. What they actually said, on the heels of this game, we got to deal with this refs issue. I will talk further about that on the mothership.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. You know, I'm a big fan of the Full Show. I'm a big fan of your brand and everything that you do. So I know.
Thank you, sir.
It's going to be absolutely terrific.
I appreciate that.
Now,
but no,
I
he's
throw,
not going to be fired.
Now I throw another question, and it's a question I've thrown often when Cowboy fans want to say, "Have you seen our offense?" Yes, I have seen your offense, and I see a major problem going forward. You're not using Ezekiel Elliott. You're not using Ezekiel Elliott, man.
Here is my number one issue with the offense. My number one issue with the team is they have McCarthy running it on the sideline. My number one issue with the offense and my number two issue with the team is the fact that you have been for years, starting in 2014, you have constructed a unit that is supposed to be run dominant.
Supposed to be.
I'm not saying that that's the only thing you're supposed to do. I'm saying that your offense is built and tailored around having a strong running game. And that if you have a strong running game, the passing game will develop beyond it and afterwards.
Just like the 90s.
Yes.
Because
just like
who
the 90s.
Was Emmitt Smith.
Yes.
Emmitt Smith and Darryl Johnston.
And North Turner, the OC of the team, and Jimmy Johnson, the head coach, they had no issues and no qualms about having Emmitt run the ball out the backfield. Run out the backfield 30 times. That's just running out the backfield. He received about 3, 4, 5, or 6 receptions also in the flat and in the field.
And now you have a player of that caliber and you don't use him.
That is what is so maddening.
You don't use him. I posed this to Rod Peterson. I posed this to Ashley Baker. I've said it to Cowboy fans, and I'm being totally serious. When you have a guy the caliber of Ezekiel Elliott, why don't you use him? You want to center your offense around Dak, and that is the wrong move to make. I'm not saying Dak is not a bad quarterback. Not saying that at all.
He's actually pretty good.
He's damn good. But he's in the wrong offense. Here's what I mean. If you're relying on Dak to throw the ball 44 times per game, you're going to wear him out, you're going to wear his psyche out, and you're going to wear his confidence out. If you look at the end of the game until that last 2-minute drive,
well said.
Dak Prescott was in the dirt.
Well said.
He was in the dirt mentally, and he was in the dirt confidence-wise, because every time the Cowboys messed up, either by penalty or by turnover, remember, Dak threw an interception.
Yes.
Dak threw an interception, and when Deebo Samuel converted that interception immediately into a 26-yard touchdown, it was 23-7. And Cowboy fans will just sit there and say, well, we made it 23-17. Yeah, but unfortunately, you shouldn't have been in that hole in the first place if you thought run first. If you had the gumption, Mike McCarthy, if you had the gumption, Jason Garrett, knowing what you have for a bull as a running back with Ezekiel Elliott, you would have handed him the ball the same amount of times that Jimmy Garoppolo handed the ball to a rookie in Elijah Mitchell.
And let me ask you this question.
Please.
So, if you have this the said bull that's in your backfield, you have this thoroughbred in your backfield.
Yep.
And you are in a playoff game. Well, basically, you need your best players to shine the brightest.
Yes.
If this bull only touches the ball 13 times in the game, do you expect your team to win?
Hell no.
That is what the Cowboys did Sunday. Ezekiel Elliott only touched the ball 13 times. He only caught one pass and only had 12 carries.
13 touches in a 60-minute game. Really?
Yes. Yes, 13.
13 times in a 60-minute game.
What makes it even more laughable is that Deebo Samuel touched the ball as many times in the game
and had a bigger impact.
That right there is a microcosm as to why I find it so frustrating. Just to even critique the Cowboys. Forgive me, a fan. Just to critique the Cowboys, that's what I find frustrating.
It needs to be, and the Cowboy fans won't see it as such.
No,
they won't see it as frustrating when your best weapon. Listen to me carefully, Cowboy fan. Your best weapon is not touching the football. Deebo Samuel and Ezekiel Elliott had the same number of touches in Sunday's game. That number, 13. Who had the bigger impact in the game?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because conversely, if I see Deebo Samuel touch the ball 13 times, I would say that pretty much would mean the 49ers are on their way to a victory.
Mm-hmm. And Elijah Mitchell just iced the cake with 27 carries.
And I love that total.
27 carries. Okay?
That is what playoff football is about.
Running the football.
Yes, you want your big man in the backfield to touch the ball as much as he can, so that you can have that presence steady everything else on the field, both offensively and defensively.
And this is one of those times where I'm happy George Kittle didn't touch the ball that much because the running game was going. Is George Kittle a fabulous weapon? Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But he loves to hit people. He loves to run people over. He and Kyle Juszczyk do basically the same thing. They do basically. And what number does Juszczyk wear? 44. Who wore 44 for the 49ers for many years?
Mr.
Tom Rathman.
Such an underrated fullback he was. And
one of my favorite fullbacks of all time was a Cowboy for his entire career.
Daryl Johnston, same here.
Daryl Johnston, the Moose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Juszczyk is running in the same mold as Rathman.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, you talk about these other weapons that the 49ers have. You forget about him until you see him being thrown to, or you see him opening a hole for somebody. And
that's it.
And I've said this on your show, and I'll say this anywhere that people want to hear. Kittle only had one reception. I think he had another target.
Yeah,
which was
2 targets.
2 targets. The other one was controversial.
Yeah,
but it was the right call was called because it was incomplete. It bounced before it got into his hands. One reception. Do you think this man was upset when the game was over? They only had one reception. No. Why? Because you know what that team did on the ground. 169 yards.
169 yards.
This guy loves being the 6th offensive lineman. Man, I bet you he was in hog heaven wanting to lay out.
He wanted to lay out any and everybody that came toward him.
Or any safety that was coming in.
Would you want to take on George Kittle on defense? No,
because
he wants to punish you.
Yes, he wants to fire off and put you literally your back to the turf.
In the dirt. He wants to put you what did I say all last week? The Cowboys will try to skate around you. The 49ers will go through you.
Which they did.
Now, I only watched the beginning of the Monday Night Football wild card game.
Well, that pretty much is all you need to watch.
I saw Michael Buffer, and I turned it off.
Let's get ready to rumble. That does not sound correct on a football field.
No,
really.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
And look,
who the hell thought of this idea to bring Michael Buffer? Well, you know what? This occurs to me.
Well, okay.
That they needed to get the Rams crowd hyped after they choked away the number 2 seed last Sunday.
I was going to say this. remember the talk about the fallout from the 49ers Rams game.
Yes.
Where, and I still can't believe this came out of McVay's mouth, where he actually said, quote, "Wow, I was really surprised that there was a lot of 49ers fans in this game." Close quote. This wasn't the first time you have actually coached a Rams 49ers game at Los Angeles. This wasn't the first time. Now, that was the first time you did it in SoFi, but that with the stands were full.
But you did it in the Los Angeles Coliseum.
You did it in Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, so you are well aware that the 49ers travel, and I'm sure there's a lot of 49ers fans in LA too. You're aware of this. This isn't something that is foreign to you. So
apparently he's not aware of it.
Yeah.
Apparently he's not aware of it.
But the fact that you pop out the mouth and say, I thought we actually had a home advantage being here, but I guess not with this team. Yeah, that was telling. So, yeah, I think.
Which is why I hope
pay the call to Mr. Buffer.
Which is why I hope next weekend they get the doors blown off of them.
I
kind of wish both teams would lose, but I know that ain't possible because it's the playoffs.
All right, I'll say this. So, should the 49ers beat the Packers, which team would you want to see in the NFC Championship?
I don't care.
I'm
speaking as a fan and a journalist. I don't care. For the simplest of reasons, the Rams can't stop us because we ran them over 6 consecutive times. The Buccaneers don't know what's coming.
That's true for the Buccaneers, but here's why you should root for the Rams. You're a whole lot more familiar with them, and their defense is tailor-made for your offense to bulldoze them.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with the Bucs, you probably can have still some success against them. That experience, though, is going to be a little bit hard to defend. And yes, I know the 49ers also have Super Bowl experience too. But having that experience is a little hard. It's a little harder to defend.
I have a very simple counter to that.
Mm-hmm.
To be the best, you have to beat the best. And the best right now is Tampa Bay.
And yeah, I'll admit the 49ers would be totally motivated if they were to get to the NFC Championship game to do that, because they would be like, well, it's great. 7-time Super Bowl winner.
Yep.
Is a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Almost this whole team won a chip last year. This is great.
Yeah.
And now we get to put our wares on the line to see where we stand.
Yeah.
Because it will be wonderful to defeat them. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
I get that mentality. And you are correct 100% with that.
Yeah. That experience is going to be something else, though.
Yeah. It will be something else.
I would love to see Tampa and Frisco hook up for the NFC Championship, because I know that's going to be a hell of a game. And if you think about it right now, the 49ers are playing with house money. They're playing with house money. No one expected them to A, beat the Rams to get into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
B, who the hell besides us gave them a chance to beat the Cowboys in Dallas? Who the hell besides us gave the 49ers a chance to put a foot in their ass on their home turf?
Because remember, the talk was after they put a 56 against Washington and 51 against the Eagles,
Philadelphia. Mm-hmm.
The most dangerous team in the most dangerous team in the NFC and the most dangerous team to the Packers' chance of going to the Super Bowl was the Cowboys. I'm like, in what world? Are you thinking this is the Cowboys circa 1993?
No.
Then yes, but
then maybe.
Yeah.
But they actually thought the Cowboys were the best chance against the Packers.
What? You not. There was analysts. I'm not even talking about regular folk. I mean, mainstream sports media analysts were looking at the camera, and they were with straight faces saying the most dangerous opposition to the Packers reaching the Super Bowl is the Cowboys. And I'm thinking to myself,
why? How?
I'm like, okay, so I guess you're enamored with the fact that this is the first team in NFL history to have a 4,000-yard passer, 1,000-yard rusher, 1,000-yard receiver, a 10-sack guy, and a 10-interception guy. Cool. I understand that. However, most of those stats were garnered in 6 games where they really were the class of their division.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned it. You mentioned them too. The other 11, they were 6-5 against the competition.
6-5.
So they were mediocre, which
at
I
best.
was seeing at best. So I was seeing. I'm like, you're saying this mediocre team with everybody else besides NFC East competition will unseat the Packers? No, I don't see it. Because they're gonna have a hard enough time with the 49ers because they're not tough enough.
You know, and the Packers are gonna have a hard time with the 49ers.
The Packers are gonna have a hard time. It's not gonna be as hard of a time as the Cowboys, but it's gonna be a hard time. Because to me, you can say what you want about Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I love his talent.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love his talent. And of course, that bad liar still is that bad liar, but his talent,
that he is,
through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
Love Aaron Jones. I think they underutilized A.J. Dillon. Devontae Adams is, to me, one of, at worst, the top 5 wide receivers in the game.
Agreed.
And the other weapons that they have in the skill position players are pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I won't say they're great. They're pretty good. My issues with that team always will be how up and down their offensive line is,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes they play games where you're like, wow, they're the best line in the league, and then other
times you don't know what you're gonna get.
Yeah,
and that's and that piece of inconsistency, as Bill Schoenig is getting ready to ring in here, that piece of inconsistency should frighten Packer fans. If it didn't scare you 2 years ago when you came to Santa Clara and got walloped twice, not once, but twice.
And the second one was worse than
The
the
second
first.
one was worse than the first one because the first one, they only gave up 23 at the half. Second one, they gave up 27 in the first half. They gave up 27 points. Stand by, Cole. They gave up 27 points in the first half of that NFC Championship game, in which it was said many times over, that the Packers had the better outfit than the 49ers. And what the 49ers do, they hung 37 on them for a second time. Let's shift to basketball, and I welcome a very dear friend of mine. He is the radio voice of the San Antonio Spurs, Bill Schoenig, on the program. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, Snowman.
How are you, my man? Good to talk to you.
We're rocking and rolling along on this, what is it, Wednesday morning?
Yeah.
Just, when you're doing all these games, Snowman, the days just kind of roll on.
They blend together so fast.
If it's Wednesday, we must be playing Oklahoma City. Okay, got it.
Bill Schoenig, the voice of the Spurs, joining us here this morning. Talk to me. The calendar year has turned. Give me an overall assessment of San Antonio at this point in the season.
Well, we're 12 games under 500, and we're in 12th place in the Western Conference. It's a young team that has had some issues in terms of trying to stay healthy. And that's very difficult when you're a young team anyway.
Mm-hmm.
We just went through this whole COVID thing where I think for a good 2-week period, we were down between 4 and 6 players, not sure who's going to come back, who's still on the protocol list. and it makes it very difficult for the coaches, obviously. We had to sign 3 guys to emergency 10-day hardship contracts, guys who have been playing in the G League. And that's not always a recipe for success, as you know. So it's been very, very difficult. And this has been a tough stretch. Just now, the Spurs are starting to get a little healthier. So I believe right now there's only one player, at least as of this morning, Trey Jones, who's still in health and safety protocol. Everybody else is back. So it's a team, obviously, that's been a little bit disjointed because of all this. It's a young team anyway. They've shown flashes of being very good. They flashed their potential. And we're having an all-star year from one player, and that is Deshonte Murray. I'll talk a little bit more about him in a minute. But for the most part, it's just been it kind of fits and starts. You get a little bit of a rhythm going, and then a guy goes down, and you lose another game. And it's just been difficult for them to get into a consistent flow. But they play hard. They play together. They do a very good job sharing the ball. I think they're second in the league in assists. They're in the top 2 or 3 right now in points in the paint. They do some good things, but they just don't do it consistently for long enough. They have stretches in each game, Brian, where they miss their shots. They get out of rhythm offensively, and they'll let the other team go on a 12-2 run that flips the game. That happened the other night with Phoenix. They were right there with the Suns for a while, and then they turned the ball over a few times early in the fourth quarter. Phoenix is great at turning turnovers into points, and that flipped the game. They went on a 17-4 run and were never threatened after that. So those types of things have happened, game in and game out for the Spurs.
Playing the top team that turns turnovers into points. Like you said, you hung with them for a while, then a 17-4 run put the game out of reach. You mentioned Deshonte Murray. And before the season started, that was one of the players you and I both were looking at to take the leadership role of this team.
Yeah, he is definitely a leader on this team. Now, remember, this is a team that went through a bit of a transformation. At the end of last year, they bought out LaMarcus Aldridge.
Mm-hmm.
And then during the offseason, Rudy Gay, Patty Mills, and DeMar DeRozan all left. So those were the veteran leaders of this ball club. So someone else needed to step up in that void of leadership, and it was clearly Deshonte Murray, who's now in his 6th season with the team, his 5th season playing. Remember, he lost an entire year due to an ACL injury.
Right.
And he's come back really strong, and he's a very good defender, very good rebounder for a small guy. He's not a small guy. He's got length. He's 6'5", but he's only 180 pounds. And for him to go in there and get 8.5 rebounds a game, that says a lot about his determination. He's also a very good defender, and I think that he's the guy that's going to lead this young ball club, and he's been marvelous. I think that he would really warrant serious consideration for an all-star berth because the numbers he's putting up and the leadership he's provided. Unfortunately, they look at the win-loss record. This team is 12 games under 500, as I mentioned, so that might cost Deshonte consideration for the team. But he's certainly deserving of a spot because he's putting up almost 19 points a game, 9 rebounds or 8 assists, 9 assists, 8 rebounds, those types of numbers. He's had 7, I believe, triple-doubles this year. So he's just done a marvelous job of leading this team. And now he just needs his teammates to be a little bit more consistent. Young guys, as you know, Brian, are not always consistent. Sometimes you're up and down a little bit. But I think for the most part, they've been very encouraged by what they've seen from some of these young guys, knowing that they're building for the future.
And it's a build. It's going to be a build. It's going to be a bit before the Spurs are really, really back in contention. And I've had a chance to watch many a Spurs game. And it's like you said, one key thing that Pops has preached and the NBA thrives on is consistency. Can you do it for 4 quarters every night and every game? Sometimes 5 quarters may go to overtime. And that's the biggest thing I think these young players are learning in San Antonio.
Yeah, there's no question about that. And, they've got some draft picks for the future. They've got a young guy. In fact, it kind of showed where they were heading this past year when they drafted Joshua Primo, who was 18 years of age. He's the youngest person in the NBA. They knew it was going to take him a while to develop. They saw the potential long-term in him. They saw the upside in Josh Primo. So they decided to take him, even though there might have been a few other players available that might have been a little bit more NBA ready right now. They were looking for the future. And he has spent some time in Austin. The Spurs have a G League team in Austin. And the Spurs, more than just about any team in the league, Snowman, use that G League.
Yes.
They really do. They send their rookies there. They send their prospects there. They say, look, you're not going to be in the rotation right away here. So go down and get 30 minutes. Go get your experience. And I think that the G League has been used as that vehicle for the Spurs for years now. You look at all we mentioned Deshonte Murray, Lonnie Walker spent time there. All their young guys have spent time in Austin honing their skills, getting minutes instead of sitting at the end of the bench. And I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing for the NBA to have the G League. And I also think it's a good thing for players coming out of high school that might not want to go to college. That might not be, college ready as far as books are concerned. They want to get to the NBA. They want to be professional athletes. They can go to the G League now, spend a year, not make the kind of money they'd make in the NBA or overseas, but hone their skills, get better, and then be ready for the draft the following year.
Honing their skills. I love that. And I love that about the G League, that a lot of players get their chance to hone their skills and get better and find their way into the rotation. The Austin Toros, the G League affiliate of the San Antonio Spurs, have seen a lot of players go through there. And when that G League season is, coaches also. It's for everybody. It's for every part of the NBA.
Yeah. You mentioned the Austin Toros. They changed their name a few years ago to the Austin Spurs. But the coaches who've coached in Austin, you go right down the list. Quinn Snyder is the head coach of the Utah Jazz. He spent 3 years coaching in Austin. The guy that's doing such a great job right now, I think very deserving of Coach of the Year consideration, Taylor Jenkins with the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yes.
He spent a lot of time in Austin working for the Spurs. So I think that, these young coaches as well as officials, we've seen a lot of officials move up to the NBA from the G League, broadcasters. So the G League is a training ground for just about everybody that wants to get to the NBA.
Bill Schoenig, the radio voice of the Spurs, joining me for another Spurs conversation. You can hear him call Spurs games all season long. Go to NBA.com and check him out. Very dear friend of mine. I love having you on, Bill. Thank you so much.
All right. Hopefully next time we'll talk, the Spurs will be a little bit higher in the standings. Okay,
yes.
Snowman?
Yes, sir.
And I hope you're feeling good. You're in our prayers every day.
I'm feeling great. Thank you, Bill.
Also, thank you, Snowman. Take care.
Bill Schoenig, the voice of the Spurs, joining me. And Cole, what was that one word we kept talking about? Consistency. Consistency. That's like the only thing that's missing from the Spurs right now. But give it a little time. I said give them a little time, and they will be back where they need to be. One more thing to do before we get out of here. Back to this. Everyone knows what kindergarten is, but have you heard of kindergarten and transitional kindergarten? Virtual learning where you use a morning meeting to do so? Well, if you look up Miss Delisha on YouTube with Morning Meeting with Miss Delisha, that is where you find it. Here, children can learn about their names, what their names start with, the letters, circles, everything that we learned in kindergarten growing up. The kids can do now and can do it with Miss Delisha. Just go to youtube.com and search Miss Delisha, and when you do, and you put your child involved in this, do me a favor. Tell him Snowman sent you.
What is dedication?
I am the father of a 9-year-old little girl and a 6-year-old little boy, and I find fatherhood both relentlessly challenging and relentlessly rewarding. My daughter is biological and my son is adopted. I love them both so much, from the morning when you wake up to putting them to bed at night. And every moment in between, it really is so special, and boy, is it exhausting. One thing that I fear about being a parent is the future for my children. I think a parent's job is to protect our children, but also prepare them for the world so they become good, kind human beings. But I'm also hopeful that the future holds a more inclusive and compassionate world for them.
That's dedication. Find out more at fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? By their clothes, their age, the way they speak? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job,
not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
Or a mother who's in between jobs
and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner?
Or a 14-year-old girl who signs up to every after-school activity, not to make friends, but just to get something to eat. Or a retiree who fell ill and had to
choose between getting medicine or groceries.
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. People you pass by every day but never knew were hungry. I am hungered in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
The COVID-19 vaccines are starting to become available across the country. And as they become available, you may be asking yourself, should I get it? Will it help me get back to doing the things I love? Like going out to my favorite restaurants, meeting with friends in person, or going on vacation and traveling again? And can I do it all without putting my family and those I love at risk? And is it safe? You've got questions. That's normal, which is why it's so important to get informed. The medical community has made it clear. The vaccines authorized for COVID-19 have met the highest safety standards and can help protect us. Visit getvaccineanswers.org for all the latest information on the COVID-19 vaccines. That's getvaccineanswers.org. Getting back to the moments we miss starts with getting informed. It's up to you. A message brought to you by the Ad Council and the CDC.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff.
Holy on smoke! Are you kidding me?
Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Can't wait. Oh, yeah.
Follow along by using the ID official SIT Morn for all of our social media, and join us on Patreon. I got some special content put on the Patreon page. You need to go to patreon.com/SIT Morning. That's patreon.com/SIT Morning. Well, we got a few minutes left, and I promised an update. Here's the update that you guys are looking for. I decided to move the show to mornings like now because that's kind of how I got started. And I've been jumping around with times for so long. We were at 11 o'clock for, I'd say, the better part of 2 years. But Cole and I talked, and there will be some points where I will be flying solo, and that's absolutely fine because he's got to work, and so do I. But I figured this would be the best time to get in everybody's ears. And you know what? Cole is a music man. I'm coming for that number one spot. We're coming for that number one spot. That was for you, my friend.
Shout out to you, Ludacris. Yeah.
That's for you, my man. And we are coming for that number one spot. Stop us if you dare. I did not watch a piece of that Rams game, and I'm so happy I didn't. Because to close up shop, all I got to say is, Kyler Murray, you're in trouble.
Although I have a bone to pick with the Rams.
You have a bone to pick with the Rams?
Yes.
Okay. What's your bone to pick with the Rams? Uh-oh.
For the exception of Cam Akers, because I know he was out with an injury for most of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Where was this team? They played like they had purpose on defense, and they played like they actually had marching orders of slay the competition on offense. They actually decided to physically will themselves to a win by running the football and only having Stafford throw it 17 times. I mean, I'm saying to myself, where has this team been?
Buried under Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, I agree with you. And this isn't from the standpoint of, well, our philosophy is to da-da-da-da-da.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and we're getting back to basics. No.
Mm-mm.
You've been trying to throw the ball 40, 50 times a game.
Yeah.
And you did this with Jared Goff, and you started to do this with Matthew Stafford, but all of a sudden you have the playoffs arrive, you turn back the clock, and that's the best performance that offense has had since the divisional round game they played 2 years ago against the Cowboys.
Against the Cowboys. How's that for irony?
Mm-hmm.
But you won't see that Rams team again.
That's my issue.
You won't see him. You won't see him again.
Just like the Cowboys, I have similar frustrations with the Rams. This is how your team is built, but you dare not to play that way because you feel as though you have to have the Wunderkind mindset, this beautiful mind, try to drum up the hottest play to flummox the defense coordinator.
Well, that's the way they play. I mean, one game against the Cardinals to show their muscle, yeah. But it's not going to be easy in Tampa.
No, it's not. It's not going to be easy at all.
It's that first hit from the Tampa defensive line. Pow!
Because that's really what's going to have to be. The Rams are going to have to withstand the onslaught the Bucs defensive line will give them, because guaranteed they will be in for an onslaught from that line.
Oh yeah,
they're coming. Talk about coming from the number 1 spot. They're coming for number 9, and guaranteed from the time the kickoff happens to the gun sounding to end the game. The Rams offensive line is going to have to play the best game this year. That's a tall task to ask.
Yeah, and it's not in Los Angeles. It's in Tampa.
Right.
And
Now they can have the feeling of, well, we already beat this team this year.
I dare you to go into the game with that feeling.
Right. But it's like what you just said. That game was in LA, not in Tampa.
I dare you to go into the game with that feeling.
Yeah, because to me that would speak to rolling your helmets on the field, and if that's the case, you might as well fly back to LA because you will forfeit the game.
You're gonna get your asses handed to you.
Yes, you can get whooped.
You're gonna get your asses handed to you.
And if you thought the game they played against the Eagles was boring,
oh, and it was. It was.
I could see more of the same happening. I really can.
Which is why I'm afraid to watch it. Which is exactly why I'm afraid to watch it.
And Kyler Murray, sir, you better pray that there's a coaching change, because Cliff Kingsbury is not going to change his philosophy.
Cliff Kingsbury is going to get you killed.
Yeah.
Cliff Kingsbury is going to get you murdered. Not literally, but on the field. He's going to get you, how did my dad put it? He's going to get you killed.
Yeah. And let me look at you real quick, Mr. Murray. What were you thinking, son, when you were trying to avoid that rush in your own end zone and you just heave a duck?
Threw, let me borrow the late, great Keith Jackson, a wounded goose.
Yeah. You heave that duck into the waiting arms of a Rams defender at your own 5, basically gift wrapping them 6 points. You would have been better to take the safety. But instead, you figured you were Mighty Mouse. You can just simply shrug that off and throw a strong pass down the field. You give up 6 instead of 2.
Take the safety, live to fight another day.
Yes, you take the safety, punt the ball to the Rams. You'll have field
give
position.
them a free kick. You live to fight another day. And that Arizona defense, which was spoken about a lot in good measures, got run over.
They have holes, and it was proven Monday.
They got run over. All right, we got to scram. We'll do this tomorrow morning. Latter half of hour 2, I will fly solo. But until then, Cole will ride shotgun with me. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you to everyone that tuned in this morning. We'll do it again tomorrow.
Oh, look forward to it.
Look forward to it also. Till tomorrow, have a great day. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move. And always remember, if your dreams don't scare you, then they are not big enough. Dream big, do bigger. We are, and we hope y'all are too. We're out of here. See you tomorrow.